Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Dyan Dini. This video about my answer for General Literature Final Test from Mr. Bahren Nurdin. So, number one is, what is definition of poetry? Is from Samad Said. In a sense, expressing poetry is a statement of the feelings and views of a poet who views natural events with the sharpness of his feelings. It was this sharp feeling that quivered his heart, giving rise to a kind of movement in his taste power. Then the acuity of this response combines with the attitude of his life flowing through the language, so that it becomes a poem, an utterance of a poet. And then from Joko Pradopo is, poetry is the result of compaction activity, namely the process of creation by capturing impressions and then condensing them, or condensation. And then from Wat Danton is, says that poetry is a concrete and artistic expression of the human mind in emotional and rhythmic language. And then from Aristoteles is, poetry is a fragment of existing poets who describe the three genres of poetry are epic, comic, tragic, and develop rules for distinguishing the highest quality poetry of each genre, based on objective underlying the genre. And then from me, the definition of poetry is a bond of deep, beautiful meaning from the inside of a person's heart or mind, which is expressed through neatly written words, which have characteristics and elements in it. And then, for number two, explain narrative poetry and the elegy. Narrative poetry is a poem that tells a story, which tells stories with clearly developed and structured plots. Examples like ballads. And then, elegy is ancient forms of poetry which laments the death of a dear person or disease, expressing sorrow or lamentation, especially for one who is dead. Number three is explain about simile and metaphor and then give an example. Quotes from Robert Burns' poem A Red Rose. Simile in poetry is if you want to compare two different things directly or explicitly by using connecting words like, similar, than, as, and compare. Example in poems A Red Rose is, my love is like a red rose. And then my love is like the melody. Okay, and then metaphor is, although it can also compare but doesn't close such as simile, even though there is a equation of one thing with another without an actual comparison, because comparison is indirect. Example in the poem A Red Rose is, while the sands of life shall run. And then number four is explain about drama, comedy, and tragedy. Comedy is literary work that has a humorous theme aimed at entertaining the audience. Not all contents in it are just funny, but there is also a light plot so that the audience can release emotion or tension as a satisfying escape from life. It's usually happy ending. And then tragedy is dramas that can be said contain more tragedies than dramas with unhappy ending. Dramas that contain sadness, human suffering, and hatred represents humans in action and don't use narration, in which they contain representation of complete heroic action. Usually, the situation quickly spirals out of control without an acute way. And then number 5 is a film a literary work? Yes or not? Why? Please give your own reasons. And then I think yes, a literary work, a film is a literary work. Why? Because film, in the film, of course, using language, and of course there is dialogue, whether spoken or not. This dialogue is a means to deliver the audience in the author's imagination. Then the use of language in the film can make the film categorized as a literary work. So I think yes, film is predetermined by literary techniques, often parallel features of literary text, or can be explained within a textual framework. That's from Mr. Bahren PowerPoint. And then number 6 is read a poem poetry, A Red Rose by Robert Burns. A red rose. Oh, my love is like a red rose that is newly sprung in June. Oh, my love is like the melody that is sweetly played in tune. As where are you, my lovely lass? So deep in love am I, and I will love you still, my dear, till all the seas go dry. Till all the seas go dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun. Oh, I will love you still, my dear, while the sands of life shall run. And fare you well, my only love, and fare you well awhile. And I will come again, my love, although it were 10,000 miles. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.